4. Today, I'm walking through the Complete Tractor 1712-705 clutch alignment tool and sharing what stood out in real use. You'll find a link to purchase this and other models at a discount in the description below the video. You can place your order right now. For technical reasons, I can't include my usual unboxing and bench footage today, so I'll guide you through a clear screen overview, show key specs, and explain how it behaves during a clutch install on compatible case/international setups.
Did you know that the best discounts on Amazon last only a few hours? That's why I launched 2 channels where I publish the highest discounts on Amazon products in real time every day. Follow the link in the description and subscribe to our Threads and Telegram channels right now to consistently save money on your everyday purchases.
The goal of this tool is simple but critical. It centers the clutch disc with the pilot bearing so the transmission input shaft slides in without a fight. With tractors, this matters even more because you're dealing with heavy castings, long input shafts, and limited visibility inside the bell housing. When the disc is even a hair off, you feel it immediately as the gearbox refuses to mate up. This tool solves that by mimicking the input shaft and locating in the pilot bearing. The body on this unit feels like a durable polymer with a machined profile that matches common spline bore sizes for these applications. Polymer is a trade-off. It's light, it won't mar surfaces, and it tolerates a bit of misalignment without gouging. On the flip side, it's not as rigid as steel, and if you store it rattling around with heavy sockets, it can scuff. In practice, for a one-off clutch job or occasional farm use, polymer is fine, and often preferred because it won't rust and it's easier to wiggle out once the pressure plate is snug. Fitment is the big question everyone has. This model is positioned for case/international style clutches typically found on legacy and mid-range tractors where the disc hub bore and pilot bearing sizes are standard. If you're working on a variant with an odd pilot size or a multi-stage pressure plate, you may need to verify that the pilot tip of the tool actually seats fully. A quick test is to hold the tool in the pilot bearing by hand. If the tip wobbles, it won't center. If it locks snugly but can still rotate, you're in the sweet spot. The spline mimic section should fill the disc hub without slop. A little rotational play is normal, but axial slop is not. Using it is straightforward. Clean the flywheel face and verify the pilot bearing turns smoothly. Place the disc against the flywheel with the correct side facing the transmission. Most discs are marked, and flipping it will cause interference. Insert the tool through the disc and into the pilot. You should feel the tip seat. Bring the pressure plate over the dowels and start the bolts by hand, going in a star pattern. As you snug them a quarter turn at a time, gently lift or lower the handle of the tool to feel the disc find its center. When the bolts are hand tight and the disc no longer drags on the tool, you're aligned. Finish torque and stages to spec. The true test comes when you roll the transmission forward. If it mates with minimal prying and the input shaft slides home with a small twist at the output yoke, the tool did its job. Build impressions are decent. The molding on the shank is smooth, the taper into the pilot section is gradual, and the shoulder gives a clear reference so you don't push too far. There's no knurl, which would help grip with gloves, but the matte surface doesn't get slick with shop dust. Tolerances are serviceable. This isn't a precision ground steel arbor, but you don't need one for most tractor clutches. It's light enough to keep in a drawer and pull out when needed, and it won't damage a freshly oiled pilot. Limitations are worth noting. If your tractor uses a non-standard disc hub or a pilot conversion bushing, measure before you commit. If the pilot bearing is worn, no alignment tool will mask the slop. Replace the bearing so the alignment is meaningful. If you're fighting the transmission because the clutch fork or throwout bearing isn't retracted, stop and verify your linkage rather than blaming the tool. And if you're doing a dual disc or independent PTO clutch pack, you may need a platform-specific arbor set that references both discs together. A single shank tool can center one disc but won't guarantee perfect stack alignment across multiple plates. Value is solid for farm and DIY scenarios. A steel, machine-specific arbor is nicer to own if you do clutches weekly, but costs more and may only fit one family of gearboxes. This model covers the common K/International zone without the premium price. For a weekend split in a home shop, it's the right balance of function and cost. If you plan to reuse it, store it in a small pouch so the pilot tip stays crisp and the shank doesn't oval from abuse. In short, the complete Tractor 1712-705 does what it says. It centers a standard disc reliably, speeds up the mating of heavy halves, and reduces the wrestling match that ruins afternoons and knuckles. Check your pilot size, verify disc orientation,